All right, welcome to the week 2 recap. Joined with me again is my co-host Justin,
Hello?
and we have a lot to go over this week,
Absolutely.
and plenty of shakeups happened this week. Let's start right up with the schedule from last week. Roman took the game over Vincent. Alex took the game over Chris. Caden took the game over David. Ethan won over Jacob. Josh over Hunter. Titus over Alex. Me versus Kyler was me. And Justin won against Aiden. So,
Mhm.
Justin, what do you think is the most interesting game out of this?
I gotta tell you, it was a great week, a lot of great games. But the one that I wanna focus on is Ethan versus Jacob. And the reason I want to point this out is because Ethan, devastating loss in week one. The San Francisco Arcaniders coming in with their year one coach, squad's ready, everyone's excited, and then they just get the hammer laid down by Titus. And it's tough to watch. And then some tough decisions had to be made. Some guys had to be moved around, and it seemed that he switched into a completely Sun-based team. And I got to tell you, worked like a charm last week. Jacob seemed to have no answer to it. Coach Ethan was able to put together a great team. Torkel was swapped in more times than I can count, just keeping up that sun, keeping down the hazards, and Jacob just got overwhelmed. And even though he has a really good team, a lot of powerful players, he was just couldn't bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, it's not from lack of Jacob trying. He had a great team as well this week. I think it was a very good match.
Mhm.
Cyclezar also was doing its best to contain the rain with Rain Dance Cyclezar with the regenerator ability, making it being able to come
Mhm.
in a lot and make it work. But, it just wasn't enough overall through the week. And, it turned into a great game. Um,
Yeah, and I
yeah,
got to say that Slick Lazar though, he showed a lot of heart in that game. He showed that he's there for the team. He's there to win. He's there to play, and that's something that I always respect. Something that I don't respect is Garchomp. Look, he's a vet in this league. He's made a name for himself in this organization.
yeah,
However,
he's been a part of, Coach Jacob's team for 3 consecutive seasons now, actually.
it's Field Team 6. They're gonna hang his jersey in the rafters after he retires. But this season, it's time to start asking some hard questions. He has yet to get a single kill. And I know, everyone always comes at me. It's like, oh, it's not just about kills. But when you're gone, your guard chomp, it is about kills. All right, he needs to step up and start making some plays to help his team out.
Especially when the sets are offensive. He's not been played as a defensive Garchomp yet this season. He's supposed to be one of the bigger killers on the team. Maybe it's time for retirement for Garchomp. It might
And
be
maybe,
time to hang that jersey.
or maybe
Um,
it's time for a new look, a new destination. Who knows?
yeah.
Only time will tell. But I think Coach Jacob, he's gonna, opening up the season 0-2 as a vet coach. I know he's gonna be able to put in some new game plan, new scheme, and turn this thing around.
So let's take a look at another match that I thought was quite interesting out of this group. One that really messed with some parlays this week. Chris versus Alex. I'm gonna tell you this was a pretty decent upset, and I don't think anybody voted on. Nobody really voted on Alex to take the win, but here we are. Alex winning, in a fairly convincing manner. Mostly all thanks to this Hydreigon this
Yes,
week. It's just a command.
phenomenal game.
Was a great
Phenomenal game
game.
from his Hydreigon. Came out to play because Alex, another one of these guys who did not have the best showing in week one. Thought we all thought he kind of had the game, and then let it slip away from his fingers. But this week, determined to silence the naysayers.
Yeah, and it's Alex has had a tough prior few seasons. Um, so this was good to see. I believe this is his first win since Alex has not won a game since season 2 in week 5. So that gives him a losing streak of 12 consecutive
Lord
games.
Almighty! Oh my goodness!
The dry spell is over, and
Much needed win.
yes, and his overall record over the last 3 seasons now comes to a whopping 4-14. We're getting there.
Wow.
So this was good to see. And,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hopefully this.
How about that Rillaboom though? How about that Rillaboom from Chris's team? Showed up. He showed up to play. All right, and he meant business.
Yes, it was a incredible Rillaboom game. Also, Swampert, I think, was also incredible. But Rillaboom taking 3 kills in this game, really catapulting him to the top of the league, was very strong.
Excited to see where it does the rest of the season.
Absolutely. But really, Hydreigon was the star of the show this week. There was just no answer. And, Terrifier was just really good into this matchup. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what Alex does with the rest of the season. And I hope Chris bounces back, because both of these are some of my favorite teams in the league. So let's hop right back into this season's standings. So, we have a little bit of a shakeup since last week. We get to see that, the top team remains the same, actually. Titus still remains the top team, 2-0. So let's break this into some parts here. Let's start with the top 3 teams, all 2-0. The Driftville Rangers, Why Not Us, and Phoenix Furrets.
Really quick, just want to interlude here. These top 3 teams, they are quickly separating themselves from the rest of the pack, because not only have they won both their games, they've won them convincingly. At +8, +9, +10, that's some next tier dismantling of these teams, and they're doing a great job.
Yeah, they're 5 differential and 4 differential in every game they've played so far. So these are clearly the teams to beat. I would be surprised not to see any of these 3 in the playoffs.
Well, except for the Driftville Rangers.
Yeah, he'll throw.
Okay. Exactly.
But all 3 of these.
That's the Driftville Rangers. Caden is the coach to beat. All right, he's gonna be beat.
So all 3 of these should make playoffs. They're halfway there already. They only need 2 more wins before it's pretty reasonable to expect at least a close chance for the playoffs. And that's it for the undefeated teams, which is a really interesting sign. Then we have the next portion of the league, which is from 4 to 11 here, tied for
11-ish, yeah,
13-ish. These are all the 1-1 teams. They're all pretty much in the same spot, between -3 and +3. Most of them landing in the +1 to -1 range, and all these teams are obviously still in the thick of it. And I think this is a good sign for, it's going to come down to the wire this season. We're going to see a lot of really close playoff differentials. So
absolutely, it's gonna. But all it takes for this middle of the pack range of teams, one big convincing win catapults them up to that 4th spot immediately. So everyone's gonna be looking for their big win on their schedule.
Yeah, especially in this week 3. I think this is one of the bigger weeks, just because you'll start to see the pack really start to separate and figure it out.
Absolutely.
Now we also have to talk about the last 3 in the pack.
Man.
We have the Miami Dolphins, the Dallas Steel Wings, and this Field Team 6. All 3 of them at 0-2.
Yep.
Luckily for Jacob and the Field Team 6, the differential is pretty low. He's only lost by 2 each time, so he's, still got a shot in here.
Absolutely.
Steel Wings are doing okay. -3 roughly each time. I mean,
Coach David always finds a way to play himself back into the playoff race.
He has never won the first 2 games, so this is
wild.
On par for
Wild.
The Dallas.
It's all part of the
Wings.
plan.
Yeah, this is just what
and
we
David we
from.
trust.
Yeah. The other 2, however, Jacob has never made the playoffs, so it is a little tough. But Palafins are a new coach, and -9 is a pretty big deficit to overcome. So he's going to have to put some work in to turn it around this season.
Absolutely. Definitely not impossible. Only week 2.
Absolutely.
Anything can happen.
There is still 6 games, but he's going to have to win the majority of them. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. That's pretty much all we got for standings, unless you have anything else.
No, that's about it.
Onwards we go to the transactions that came up this week. So this week, they're very minimal transactions. We actually only had one set, and it was from Coach Kyler, dropping Tapu Bulu, adding Thwacky, dropping Bronzor, adding Vaporeon, dropping Toxapex, and adding Ninetales.
Man,
So you could
let me tell you, I love these transactions. All right, these are great pickups for Coach Kyler over on his team, and let me tell you, that boy Thwacky got that dog in him. You know what I'm saying? He's a competitor at heart. All right. He may be low on that point board, but he plays his heart out every single match, every single game, and he's going to be seeing valuable minutes on that team.
Absolutely, he's an incredible value pick that will, I think Kyler would definitely appreciate, especially with the terrain that it sets, dropping Tapu
Absolutely.
Bulu, and you're basically compressing the Tapu Bulu into 3 points rather than 10. So, phenomenal value pick, Moneyball, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I think Vaporeon is the other really big add here because
Absolutely.
Toxapex is not Vaporeon. It's so much worse. The ability to wish and flip turn constantly is it's going to be incredible. So, Mega Mawile will definitely appreciate the slow pivot and the free healing. So, I think this will take him on that's already towards the top of the league and bump it up. And speaking of mons that are towards the top of the league,
Mm-hmm.
let us take a look at the MVP race this season. Where we have a little bit of quite a bit of a shakeup actually. Last week you'll remember that Tyranitar was on top, along with Hisui and Zoroark, but Justin, that is not the case anymore. What would you like to do?
Put up some stinkers. Put up some stinkers this week.
They didn't do
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
And now we sit with Clefable, Heatran, and Urshifu Single Strike, all with 5 kills at the top.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Justin, I would like to say, you did mention last week Heatran and Urshifu Single Strike.
I did. I did.
These were your top contenders. You also said Tyranitar was, which may not have been the greatest take, but,
Listen, it's still early in the
he's still
season.
ninth.
All right.
He's still ninth.
Yep.
There's still hope. But, yeah.
Really quick, I would love to point out just one player on this team. This will I think help us transition into my week 2 game that I want to cover, that we'll cover later on the segment. Talked about Urshifu Single Strike last week, but how about Urshifu Rapid Strike? All right, often overshadowed by Single Strike. He's playing with a chip on his shoulder this season. All right, and despite being coached by Coach Caden, which it's take it or leave it, he is playing phenomenally. All right, he's seeing the game differently. You can just tell he's phenomenal game sense, and it just seems to come so naturally to him. And he's not just letting the game come to him; he's taking it. All right, he's taking it, and he's getting his kills. He's getting out of there. Still has yet to die, even though he's played both games, and he's coming for the top Urshifu spot. I think he's right behind Urshifu Single Strike. In fact, in differential, they're the same. They're equal at +4. But look out for Urshifu Rapid Strike as this rivalry continues throughout the season.
Absolutely, and while we're at it, I'm going to mention another Pokemon that I think needs to be thought about all season. King Gambit from Titus and the Why Not Us. This thing is a monster.
Yeah.
Always needs to be considered the greatest reverse sweeper of all time. Just taking kills at the end of the game that nobody expects. And, he's already got 3 kills this season. I wouldn't be surprised to see that number just turn into 9 at some point, just from a free 6-0 that he just allows out of nowhere. So,
Absolutely.
this thing is a massive threat and needs to be respected. So,
And quick shout out to Hydreigon and Mandibuzz. Both only played 1 game. They're getting their first starts in week 2, but being towards the top of the MVP charts.
absolutely, they looked quite strong this week, and hopefully both Chris and Alex, give them some more minutes, give them more playing time.
Absolutely.
Let them cook, so to speak. And let's take a look into the schedule again. And let's take a look at what week 3 brings us. We have Vincent versus Chris, David versus Roman, Ethan versus Alex, Josh versus Caden, Zach versus Jacob, me versus Hunter, Justin versus Titus, and Aiden versus Kyler. Any thoughts on this week as a whole?
A lot of great games. A lot of games that are controversial in the betting market. A lot of split games. Last week seemed to be a lot of
It was very lopsided. There was a
yes.
This week is a lot more divided. We get to see a lot more what would be considered close games in terms of like just how the teams are built, and how the coaches match up into each other. So yeah, I'm excited to see what we have this week. And speaking of games this week, I believe you had one that you'd like to mention.
I would love to talk about the Drifterville Rangers versus Milwaukee Milk Tanks. Look, everyone knows my opinions on Coach Caden. Clearly, his team's doing great. They're at the top of the leaderboards. And people who are unfamiliar or new to this league might look at this matchup and be like, Caden is the clear favorite here. The Drifterville Rangers are going to mop the floor. What are you talking about? Josh, for those who are new, is the wild card in this league every single season. You never quite know what to expect for him game to game, week to week. I mean, he played both his week 1 and week 2 game on the same day, but they could have not been more different. He's known for, high crits, but he can also pull out a strange strategy or two. And now that Clefable is in his hands,
there's plenty of room.
Quite possibly anything is possible. Exactly. People are going to look at Caden's schedule and be like, he's number 2 plus 9 and through 2 weeks. I just see that and think, 2, guarantees in the next, trillion years. It's the heat death of the universe. And it's Caden starting out good in the regular season, okay? So until he does something to change my mind, I'm not going to change my mind on him, okay? All right? So I want to let people know that Josh not only has a real chance here, in the betting market, he's actually favored.
Yeah, in fact, Josh is actually the second most winning coach of all time in this league.
Look at that.
So never underestimate him. He's definitely got more than a good chance to take a game here, and we never know what we're going to get from him. King of variance, almost. Can never discount him. So
absolutely.
And there's another game that I would really like to talk about from this week. We have the very interesting, very hotly debated Aiden versus Kyler. Oh, the Houston Haunters versus Six Dittos. And with Kyler's new changes, this is a tough matchup. It's going to be close. Kyler's probably generally considered the better coach. He's made it to the finals before, in fact. And, this team is very strong. However, Aiden has by and far the strongest team in the league in terms of builds. So this game is going to be a nail biter.
It's all going to come down to coaching in this one, Ian. All right, Houston Haunters close loss last week to my Los Angeles Charger Bugs, but it was a close game, and his Pokemon are super powerful. And even when I took a lot of time to strategize and build my team to try to counter his, there was still only so much that could be done there. And his players just play with so much talent, so much teamwork and collaboration that you have to think that in any given game, Aiden's team could just outpower the other team and just run away with it.
Absolutely. There's a couple of tough matchups for him. I think that Mega Mawile is a massive problem, but it's not like there's a shortage of answers. He has Volcanion, he has Ferrothorn, he has Mamoswine, all of these options to deal with things. And
Acheron, just the list is endless.
It's just there's so much work that can be done. I honestly think in this game that Mamoswine looks incredibly powerful.
I was thinking the same thing.
It's not going to be easy for Kyler might have to start relying on that Intimidate core, but neither the Intimidate core can switch into Mamoswine due to the
No.
ice and ground coverage. Both are super
And then if he
effective.
terras, Godspeed.
You never know what it's gonna be, and it could be anything. So
Exactly.
it's a massive threat to this team. Even if he stays base form, the only thing that can really hit him for super effective damage is Greninja and Vaporeon, since Thick Fat is the ability to be neutral for Skeledirge. So it is tough, and as a ground type, it blocks Regieleki, which makes this thing truly a tough matchup for Kyler. But on the flip side, man, Skeledirge looks pretty good. So it's gonna be close, and
Gonna be a great one. It's gonna be a great
forward
one.
to this one for sure.
Absolutely.
You got anything else before we go, Justin? Any closing thoughts? Any last looks at the schedule you'd like to bring up?
Man, I think that just about does it. I guess just what I'll say is reiterate what I said earlier is that right now, yeah, there seems to be a gap forming, but one 4-point win and you're right back in this game. So anything's possible in this league.
Again, David has taken he's taken the 0-2 every season, and almost every season has made the comeback. So
And he won the championship past 2 years against which coach? I'm forgetting. It's
Caden.
Oh, interesting. Anyway.
And the middle of the pack, they all look decent. Hopefully that we'll see some. We'll start to see who really the top tier coaches are. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, this will be a good week, and good luck everyone. And we will be back next week with the week 3 recap.
See you guys.
Bye.